And now I'm going to review King Richard. I think it's a little weird that I just watched Licorice Pizza. It was the movie I watched right after that. Because Licorice Pizza was essentially showing one toxic relationship in a positive light, and here's showing another toxic relationship in a positive light. In this case, it's the father. And it's like the very first scene was him talking with someone, showing like, oh, I have this plan for my daughter's whole life. Oh, they're going to be big tennis stars and all this other shit. And it just shows you right away, like, this is a very controlling person. And just like in Licorice Pizza, I was just waiting for him to do anything that wasn't completely toxic, and he never did. But it was shown the whole way, like, just see, like, look at how hard this guy tries. It's supposed to be like a feel-good film of, like, showing this guy how he got out of really poor district and started training his daughters to be the breadwinners of the family, essentially. And it's just like a movie that, just like Licorice Pizza, it's like so completely oblivious to the fact of what it's doing. Because, like, everything he did in the whole movie, it was just like, it just showed how controlling he was, even though, like, he would put a positive spin on it, because that's what toxic people do. That's what really manipulative people do, always make it seem like they're the good guy who's just giving you the best advice in the world, but really just, like, really manipulative bullshit so that you do what they want. And then you fall into their perfect little plan for you of, like, being a millionaire. I mean, you could argue the fact that this movie is just like, look and see what it takes to be truly great in this world. But I mean, like, this isn't Black Swan. That's a little ironic because that was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who just did Licorice Pizza, which also has the same fucking problem that this movie does, and that it's just totally oblivious to what it is. It's totally oblivious to what it's trying to tell people, and it's putting like this positive spin on these really toxic people, and it's not doing it in a way that's like highlighting the fact that it's doing that. So therefore it's just meant to, I think, confuse people by the end, so that people will be like, oh, what a feel-good movie, I totally respect the Williams sisters much more or whatever because of this or something. Or their father, he tried so hard and he did so well. Look at how well he did. What a perfect dad. But just like Licorice Pizza, everything else about it is fine. Or it's pretty good, actually. The cinematography is good. Their use of sound and music, or sound quality, or whatever. The sound editing was fine. The acting was pretty good. I mean, even though I didn't really like the character, I feel like if Will Smith won Best Actor or whatever he's up for, that would be fine. He deserved it. He did a good job. But because it's so oblivious to the fact that it's, like, giving these really negative messages about these things. And I know it's, like, I think this was, like, produced by the Williams sisters or something, because they respect their dad, even though he was fucking awful to them. But they give it a positive spin, because that's what toxic, manipulative people do. I think I'm going to make an NPD on TV with this. And probably Licorice Pizza, too, just because it's like, man, are people really that oblivious to these things? It's just like, these are not healthy relationships, but they're showing them like they're normal. Like, this is how the family dynamic is supposed to be, where the father just has a domineering control over the whole family. His wife and all 5 of his daughters have to do everything he says at all times because he's so fucking great. At least that's how he sees it. It's just, I don't know, it's a little ironic, I think, that, like, this and Licorice Pizza, like, came out the same year as other movies that are really woke about these things, like Power of the Dog or Parallel Mothers or Encanto to some degree, except for the ending. So it's just, I don't know, just interesting. It's like that, here's one side of the issue, here's the other side where everyone's just oblivious to everything and think these things are not only normal, but healthy and lovely. Okay, with all that in mind, I think this was probably a better movie than Licorice Pizza. It had a lot of better moments, and, like, even though it was oblivious to the fact that it was presenting this toxic person in such a positive light, it wasn't as oblivious about it as the other movie was. And this one was a true story, which I guess gives it, like, maybe a bonus point in my grading scale or something. It was still one of those movies that I feel could have been a lot better if they had just been more aware of what type of person this was or something, or, like, maybe there was just something in the movie that didn't, like, just showcase every toxic thing he did as if it was a positive thing, as if he was doing the right thing by being so controlling of his daughters their whole life. I mean, he even starts yelling at other people to be like, let them be kids, but he's the one that's not letting them be kids, you know? But because of that, it, like, drags the rest of the movie down, just like Licorice Pizza, you know? It's like, if it wasn't for this fact, if it was less oblivious to all this shit. I don't know. Just felt like it could have been a better movie. Like Power of the Dog. Maybe not as dark as Power of the Dog, but, you know, instead of having Richard Williams as the main character, it could have been the Serena sisters and showing them, like, seeing this more as abuse than they do in the movie. Because everyone just seems so blissfully unaware of, like, all this bullshit happening to them. The mom's the only one who, like speaks up here and there, but even then, it's like she speaks up while the kids don't realize anything. Feels almost like they knew that, but I wonder if there was, like, maybe some pushback from, like, the Serena Williams sisters or whoever was producing, just being like, no, you gotta show them like this, don't show them like that. Just because there are some, like, hints that maybe it was a darker movie at one point or something. But anyway, I guess I'll just give it a grade, and I'm not totally sure what to give it. Because, again, it's not, like, as bad. It doesn't leave quite the same taste, the same awful taste in my mouth as Licorice Pizza does. Literally, because I just ate some. Thought maybe it would make me understand that movie more. But it's still, like, the wrong message. But I think I'll give it a 5 out of 10, because it felt like more, like, right in the middle, like that. The stuff that's good about it definitely elevates it a lot more than the ultimate message of the film, like, lowers it. Without that wokeness that other films have had this year, and this film totally is oblivious to, it just makes it, like, not only forgettable, but also, like, the movie itself is missing its own point. I don't know if there's a word for that. But if that is, that's what this movie is doing. But it was enjoyable. If you like sports movies, maybe you'd like it. But it just could have been something more, and it could have had more, been a bit more self-aware, would have been nice. Anyway, 5 out of 10, that feels about right for this film. And I think this is the last film I'll review before the Oscars. For this Oscars, there's only a few I have left to do, but alright, that's it. For now.